Woo! Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That was awesome. Good morning. Oh, gosh, what a good crowd today. Sunshine's bringing everybody out. Well, I'm Courtney Fuchs. I'm Vice President of the Unity Council. I think one Sunday I said I was Vice President of Unity. That's not my role. And I always like, or once in a while, I like to remind us of our vision statement because it's so what we are. It said Unity is where our vision is to be centered in love, inspired by spirit, and where we awaken, connect, and thrive. Yeah, that's what we are about. So welcome, everybody. Do we have anybody here who is here for the very first time? If you just raise your hand so we can acknowledge you. Oh, okay, we have several. And if you'd like a welcome packet and didn't get one, you can keep your hand up and we'll have somebody hand you one. If you've got one, you're good. Thank you so much. And we also welcome our people that are online. We have a big following out there on YouTube and Facebook, so you can watch us at either place if you are at home, or if you miss a service, or you want to rewatch a service that's touched your heart. You can just go to YouTube or Facebook and watch a replay of our services. Today's speaker is L.J. Perry. I don't know where he is, but he's here. Oh, there he is. Okay, great. And our reader is Ginny Hout, and musician is John Magny, and the choir, and I think we have the inimitable Chris Shea going to be doing some fun music today. That's awesome. Thank you. The prayer chaplain of the day is Peter Bostwick. Peter, will you raise your hand? There he is in back. And he'll be down this hallway in the Myrtle Room for about 10 minutes after the service. So if there's anything on your heart that you want to pray about, happy or challenging, go see Peter. He'll pray with you. Let's see, last Sunday, Reverend Jim started his new workshop series on healing and wholeness. Those movies were very powerful, didn't you think? They're very interesting. The next class in the series is on Thursday, June 19th at 1 p.m. via Zoom. And we did run out of books last Sunday, but we have restocked, so we've got those. And there's actually a new pamphlet available called The Power of Faith to Heal, and it's available for a love offering, so that's also available in the bookstore. We also ordered in some new kids' books. We're trying to keep that freshened up. So here's just one of them. But they're positive theme. They're not religious, but they're spiritual, and they're about kindness and compassion and love and all that. So that if you have a kiddo that you need a book for, we have a few new ones back there. Summer camp. Are you making an announcement? Oh, we have a couple. Okay, let me just do. Summer camp is happening all the next week. Here, yeah. Nancy's got some fun stuff planned. We saw her syllabus this last Wednesday. So the camp is free, and there are still some open spots. So if you know any little ones that want to join the camp, it's open for ages 5 to 12, I believe.
And she can use some help.
And she could use some adult help, according to Francie. Okay. The office will be closed on Thursday for Juneteenth. I don't see Will, so I will say the drumming circle is meeting this Thursday at 5 p.m. in the Roomy Room.
And there's lots of drums.
And there's lots of drums available, but you can bring your own. And I'm just checking to see who I don't want to step on anybody's toes. In July, we're going to do a collective display on the art wall, meaning if you have any artistic talent, bring something in. But the theme is called Play, and everyone's welcome to contribute artwork. Gloria Willis. Gloria, will you raise your hand? Oh, sorry, were you going to make it? I didn't see you there. Okay, come on up and finish the announcement, and then I'll let these other folks do theirs.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here to invite you to participate with us in creating the July art wall. If you have ever questioned yourself whether you're a good artist or not, I want you to take a look at this painting. This is a worldwide artist who sells her paintings for $1 million.
And it's a very cool painting.
And so the point I want to make is there's a lot of room when you make your art. You could play with color. You could do that. You could make a self-portrait. You could make a collage, which is really fun to make, just pictures, okay? And you can keep it really simple. We're going to be hanging the art on the 28th, and so if you can bring your art prior to that, that would be helpful, and we'd appreciate it, and I really can't wait to see what you bring. Bye.
The Women's Together Circle is going to happen on, let's see, the date is down here, June 28th from 11 to 1. That's a Saturday, and it's a potluck. And we just ask you to bring a potluck. And you can sign up. We're not going to have you sign up for any particular thing. Let the Spirit move you at that time. Is it a French event? It'll be in the, well, we're going to be in a couple rooms here. So is there anybody that needs to sign up? Okay. I'll pass it this way, and then you can pass it around the other way. Sometimes people have signed up before, so just check.
Good morning. This is an invitation. As you may know, Kelsey McElfresh, the amazing and wonderful singer, she and I and four other people are in a jazz band called the Jazz Section. And we've been playing around for about a year, and we're playing this Thursday at Avo's from 6 to 9 outside in the back. So it should be just lovely, fun music. Think Michael Bublé with a little bit of Lake Street Dive thrown in, and maybe, a Fever. And Kelsey she's not here. I told her she had to be here because her magnetism will. Your magnetism brought me in. And I didn't even know she was here. But you get to see her sing, and she is just generally badass. So come 6 to 9. They're charging a cover charge now at Avo. So I think it's $10 before or $15 at the door. But we'd love to see you and have fun.
Okay. Sounds like fun. Council meeting has been moved to Sunday, June 29th, so anybody that's interested in that can join us, or by Zoom, you can do that as well. And then I don't see Leanne, so an annual yard sale is going to be July 12th. I don't know if you guys have ever attended, but it's huge, and there's a lot of really cool stuff. So you can start dropping off your things on June 29th, that's Sunday, June 29th, and there are posters up to explain what things can be accepted and what can't be, so just check that out before you go digging through your garages and basements and wherever, your closets, to bring your things. But it's really fun, so donate and then come and shop. And Julie's passing around a clipboard to help set up. There is quite a bit of setup, but it's not really hard. It's just we need a lot of people, so that would be awesome if you could help out with that. Lastly, there's two lastlies. If you want to get the newsletter, which has all this information, everything that Unity's up to, it comes out every Thursday by email. Julie sends it out, and you just need to sign up on that entry form the form in the entry area, and just check mark that you want the newsletter if you're not on it, because it's just a great way to stay in touch with everything that we're all doing. If you want to be a member of this church, this community, there's no requirements, like you remember if you think you're a member, but to be able to count you, we do need you to fill out a little form that's on the table by the column there that has the prayer requests as well. And you just drop that in the offering basket, and we will be able to count you as an official member. And then also, most of you know already, but we are team run. So in other words, the having the stage built or needing to paint a wall or whatever, that's the facilities team. So there's volunteers from our community that are on that team that take care of the inside, the outside, the finances, welcoming. There's just so many things, and it's all team run. It's very unique, and it's amazing that it works. So, but if you want to join into a team, we have team brochures there on the welcome table, and you can just read more about what all the teams do, what they're up to, and also who is in charge of the team. So if you have any questions for them, just go and ask them, okay? And then the very last one is that the community lunch bunch today is at Vern's at 11:30. Okay, let's take a deep breath, get centered again, and we'll say our unity prayer together. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world.
All right, good morning. Okay, we got a special day here today. We're calling this Chris McShay Day. And we're going to do 3 songs that Chris has written, and I helped him on a couple of them. But what's really great about these songs is that they're custom unity songs. You know, we can't do like guilt-based religious songs here. So it's rather distinctive, the lyrics. He's been a really great asset to us, and he has to move. He's moving away on us. So we're gonna celebrate him and his.
But I love you guys.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I think it's a mutual thing. I want to take quick thank you to Peter Parnag here, talking about the facilities and everything. He's done a whole bunch of work on the stage and sound, and Richard back there has just keeps on getting the sound better. Oh yeah, and Gerald too, and
My son,
everybody else
his
I
wife.
forgot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Oh no, I'm done.
Jonah McShay, front row. Let's give him a hand.
I forgot. Yeah.
His wife, Sadie. Their beautiful daughter. And there's a little one back in the back. So happy to have you guys here. And my roommate, Ian Foster
What,
and
Ian's
Tristan.
here? Whoa.
What a big support he has been to me in the last couple years. Thank you guys for coming out. It's good to see everyone.
First song we're going to do is called Live in Me.
Wanna grow in the light of the Spirit's name. I'm praying for the world to heal again. A simple way of living that we all need to give. We are here right now singing praises to you, opening our hearts with all we do. A simple way of living for me and you. Live in me, give me love and peace, heal me, so I can release the fear inside my heart. Live in me, live in me, so that I can see, give to me without worry, as I drink the milk of your word. Live in me.
Hey, Tommy.
Live in me, give me love and peace, heal me, so I can release the fear inside my heart. Live in me, live in me, so that I can see, give to me without worry, as I drink the milk of your word. Live in me, live in me. give me love and peace, heal me, so I can release the fear inside my heart. Live in me, live in me, so that I can see. Give to me without a worry, as I drink the milk of your word. Live in me, as I drink the milk of your word. Let me.
Yeah, you're right. Check, check. Okay, we have a reading from Ginny. You can stay up, everybody. Just stay up. We'll be up there at the next song.
Morning, friends. Today, I first want to honor my father. His name is William Eugene Hout. He's in heaven, but I want to honor him. And I also want to say Happy Father's Day to all you fathers that are here and online. This is a quote by Barack Obama. It's the courage to raise a child that makes you a father. I also want to read from the prophet, and it's on children, but I'm honoring all fathers. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be your gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable.
We become one. We become one. We become one. We become one. I'm not sure when this song stopped being about me. When old faces were new faces, spirit shining through. When we speak with the light, souls brighten among us. We touch our hearts with our hugs, sharing what has become of us. We become one. We become one. We're shining all together like the rays of the sun. We become one. When we seek to be loved, our souls vibrant and hopeful. We give a piece of our hearts, clear and true and wide open. We become one. We the rays of the sun. We become one. We become one. I'm not sure when this song stopped being about me. When old faces were new faces, spirit shining through. When we speak with the light, souls brighten among us. We touch our hearts with our hugs, sharing what has become of us. We become one. We become one. Shining all together like the rays of the sun. We become one. I said we become one. Oh, I know that we become one. Shining all together like the rays of the sun. We become one. We become one. We become one. We become one. We become one.
Thank you. All right.
Thank
We
you
have
all
such-
so much.
Such a great cast up here. I want to thank all these great singers and players. We'll be back.
Good morning. Can you hear me now? We good? All right. Hey. Hello to my Unity brethren. I'm LJ Perry. My family's been part of the Unity community for several years. Might be 3, could be 6 years, doesn't really matter. But today I'm going to talk to you about fatherhood. I'm going to throw in some spirituality and some cool quotes that I gathered up and sprinkled with a little of my own wisdom and healing process as well, especially in how becoming a father has helped me to heal my own soul and further my personal development. Before I get into it, though, I'd like to really start off by acknowledging that fatherhood is a role, and in Jungian psychology, it's referred to as an archetype as well. To me, it's a spiritual role, and sometimes you take this role on by becoming a biological father, but not always. We can move into the father archetype by being a stepfather or adoptive father, by mentoring others in our community or our workplace. There's many ways to fulfill that sacred role, and today I'm talking about all of those. Am I still on? Okay. Sorry. Where am I? There we go. Many ways to fulfill that sacred role, and today I'm talking about all of these. Most of my examples are going to be from the biological father point of view, because that's who I am. I just so happen to have 4 kids. But everything I have to say is readily adaptable or applicable towards all other modalities, if we want to use that word. And so I'm going to quickly make a little comparison of like a motherhood role versus a fatherhood role archetype, and I'm going to borrow from the Jungian psychology again. Jungian psychology tells us that the mother archetype represents nurturing, love, compassion, and protection. The mother archetype manifests in various forms, including one's biological mother, maternal figures, or even a motherly aspect within oneself. And so when we look at the fatherhood archetype, it's a little bit different. Jungian psychology tells us that the father archetype embodies authority, protection, order, and guidance. It often represents the law, social norms, and the structured rational aspect of life. In many cultures, the father figure is seen as the provider, the protector, and the disciplinarian. That's a fun word. Yeah. Carl Jung also said the image of the father is a symbol of the superior will that strives to realize the self. So let's talk about that discipline word that I just mentioned a minute ago. I'd like to pause and acknowledge that the disciplinarian aspect is surely one that has unfortunately damaged many, if not all of us, maybe most of us. I think there's a couple lucky ones out there that had really great fathers that didn't have this problem. I'm not one of them. Discipline's important, and yet when it's thought of as a punisher, we all know the kinds of damage that fathers can inflict upon us. Mothers can too, but regrettably, a lot of people's fathers, or those in father roles, have inflicted great pain on us, both emotional and physical. A long-term friend of mine who lives in Laramie once said that you can't discipline kids unless you can discipline yourself. And I think that's the kind of discipline that we're talking about, that Jung is getting at. A well-disciplined father can teach and model that discipline, whereas a poorly disciplined father might lead by fear and demand obedience instead. So I'm going to jump into my own story here for a little bit. I'd love to tell you everything that I learned from my own father in terms of how, being a father myself. And I can, but I can only do it from the perspective of my limited view of him as a young child. I lost my father when I was 7 years old in a traumatic car crash that involved the entire family. The accident itself, it was traumatic, and it put me in a spin for a very long time, I occasionally got good parenting, but a marked absence in nurturing, not to mention that my stepdad was a violent tyrant that was a constant threat. And while I lived in their house, I lived in a state of perpetual hypervigilance and fear. The reason I'm bringing these facts to the conversation is that the lessons I learned on how to be father kind of ceased for me at that age. I learned in the second half of my childhood that children were to never question their parents, that emotional displays would not be tolerated, and more. Regrettably, what it taught me was to expect that my kids were obedient, act towards me with total respect, and not complain about anything. I regret that, right? We all do. It took me a long time to unlearn that. I'm great with kids now, but I haven't always been. I've been down a long road of therapy, meditation, and self-exploration, and honestly, I've rebuilt myself entirely, and I'll talk more about that, but I will say now that despite losing my dad at 7 years old, I remember very well how my dad would look me in the eye and explain so many things to me about who we were, what kind of people we were, that we descended from farmers, and I was therefore a farmer too, despite the fact that we lived in a regular old house in a city. It's fun, it is, but I was a farmer, damn it. He spoke to me not in a manner of an adult, dumbing things down to the kid level, but more as a peer-to-peer. My dad's calm presence and direct approach is what I still model today. I really try to, as I work with my children. In terms of my relationship with my actual father, too, though, is that I was constantly trying to please my dead father as I was growing up. People would say things to me like, oh, your dad would be so proud of you today, right? And that's great. But they'd also say things like, yeah, your dad would be disappointed in you for this. You really screwed up this time. I'm like, gosh, I hope not. But, they'd also say things like, and I've heard this a lot from my dad's closest friends, your dad would be so disappointed. I'm sorry. Your dad wouldn't have raised you to be a Democrat. This is a great one, right? But I used to talk to my dad in heaven, and in times of trouble, I was still try to seek his guidance, and I think that I got the messages. They were never messages of disappointment, and honestly, I think he's in a place where judgments really don't occur anymore. I don't think that as he's gone into this other realm that he identifies as a Democrat or Republican, but instead, from that perspective of universal love for all life. One thing I got very solidly from my dad, though, and his dad before him, and his father before him, is to drive to do things with your life and not waste this precious life that we have. My dad had plans for his life and for my life as well. When he died, he was 34, and yet he had already invested in land in Wyoming and Nebraska. That was his investment plan, his ultimate retirement plan. But in addition, that was in addition to the family home that we lived in. Yet we still bought most of our clothes from Goodwill and hand-me-downs, and most of my shoes had holes in the toes and or in the soles. But he had this vision of how he wanted his life to unfold, and he was putting those pieces together. And I either learned this from him or maybe just came naturally through my genes, but I'm a visioneer. I've always worked with a vision of how I want to put my life together. And while I've had missteps, I've made some pretty spectacular mistakes in the past, I honestly couldn't be happier with where I am right now today. Not just here, but in general. So given that my stepdad was such a bastard, and that's the worst word I'm going to say today, but it had to be said. I got conflicting messages from the adults in my life. I eventually had to settle on a spiritual archetype for my own guidance. Carl Jung believed that in integrating the father archetype within oneself is part of the journey of becoming whole. For those estranged from a father or struggling in their role on the journey inward is just as vital as the one outward. And I believe that we have access to this fatherly archetype, whether we have strong fathers around us or not. Carl Jung also said, the father is the one who gives a child a worldview. My real dad gave me that worldview, even though I was 7 when he died. No matter what my stepdad did, and irrespective of the fact that my mom allowed him to do bad things to us, my worldview and how I fit in within that worldview, who I am, something I received from my father that nobody can take from me. That strength is still there from that. I will say, though, that I've never sat my kids down and said, this is how you live your life. You do this and you do that. But instead, I've really tried to lead by example. Maddie and Kennedy, my elder two, while both taking their lives in wildly different directions, have demonstrated that ability to move towards a vision as well, and that makes me very proud. My dad taught this to me by telling me we got where we are because we are Perrys, we're farmers, and we work hard. And honestly, I still remember we're in our backyard, and it's immaculate. We've got a garden the size of the state, there's strawberries and cherry tomatoes all over the place, and he'd say, look at their yard. They have weeds and everything. They're lazy. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not lazy. I'm not going to be. But in addition to leading life towards that vision that's ever expanding, I learned through my dad's abbreviated life that you can't wait for retirement to seek happiness. You have to seek happiness every day and every situation you find yourself in. You have to build a life that works for you, and it might look differently than the life that I would choose for myself, right? My daughter Maddie has a slightly different life and very different than my daughter Kennedy, yet they've both chosen lives that work really well for them individually. And I've told them often, as you go through your week, if you don't have several moments during that week of joy and gratitude, there's something wrong and you need to fix it. And I hope that message come across as well. I sometimes think that being a father is both being an anchor and the wind, right? It's that anchor that helps us find the balance between the rational and irrational, and to find the powerful source, that father archetype that's available to us whenever we need it, within us to anchor us to a place of calm and power. But I think fatherhood is also the wind to propel us forward into the lives that we seek and want and take life by the horns. There's a really lovely Thich Nhat Hanh quote. A father can be the greatest teacher not by instruction, but by being deeply present with his child. This is one of the things that I aspire to be to my kids. And my hope is that through that presence, I can teach them to be present as well. Being present with our emotions, thoughts, and awareness of this greater world and the universe helps us clarify who we are, where we're going in life, and the steps we need to take to get there. I've often had this idea that mothers have like this different relationship, and I used those Jungian quotes earlier, with children. They're the nurturers, all right? And my observation is that mothers feed love and energy into their kids, and kids need this. They take it in, they use it maternally, that the maternally given energy is part of themselves. Dads are a little bit different, though. I feel like the role of the dad is more to show the kid how to connect with their true selves, how to get that introduction and discover what they're capable of within themselves. What's even more interesting to me, though, is that by trying to show our children who they are, what they're made of, we as fathers also learn who we are. By going deep with a kid, by settling into the present moment, a father sees himself in his children and learns more about himself in the same process. Talking about being an anchor, I recently had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he told me, he said he had this irrational expectation that his sister would always be around forever, and she died last week. This is why we're having this conversation. You know, I thought about that, and while some would say that irrational thoughts, or irrationality, if that's a word, is a sign of weakness or flawed thinking, and I think it's actually a gift that we as humans can process things from a non-logical state. You can't be irrational all the time, but being in touch with what is irrational and rational at the same time allows you to connect with your heart, your heart-based intuition. One of the ways this plays out in a fatherhood is to help children discern between the rational and the irrational and know which is appropriate at given times. I get a lot of personal value when I see my kids having irrational thoughts that bring up powerful emotions. I try to help them sort through what's rational and what's irrational. Not long ago, Audrey, who will come up and, as we sing them in later, Audrey became angry with something that Gabriel done like the day before. And they were using that moment to predict, okay, this is going to happen again. He's just going to do this again. And I said, I kind of listened to her and demonstrated, there's a way we can fix this issue that hasn't actually happened yet. We just need to have a little bit different perspective on it, right? And that we can separate our emotions from our response. It's not bad to have emotions. We use them to help point ourselves in the right direction, but we have to throw in some rational thought along the way, and we'll generally find solutions that are suitable, and we don't have to be upset about things in this case, which in this case never did actually happen. I hope that this helps anchor them in a way to connect with their inner, deeper selves too. So I want to talk now about how I've learned to be a better dad than my stepdad. I want to talk about some of my mistakes that I've made, and I'm happy to be talking to you about my personal spiritual ideas of the role of his father. I've got 4 kids. Maddie's 28, Kendi's 24, Audrey and Gabriel, the 11-year-old twins, are going to come up here later on. And you'd probably think, wow, he's had so much experience, he must be a great father. But, with my older kids, I wasn't gentle enough with them. I probably was most times pretty cool, but I yelled at them too much. I was sharp with them too much. I wasn't a bad dad, but I wasn't the dad I wanted to be either. And I've got to confess, I've got this brother-in-law, Curtis, and when Kelly went back east for like a week and a half, or maybe it was to a wedding, I'm not sure which it was, Curtis and his mom came over to take care of the twins. They're little tiny babies. And he was just jovial. Oh, yay, I'm going to throw these kids up and all this stuff. And I'm like, God, I wish I was so relaxed like that. But I wasn't. I was always, there was always just a little bit of tension. I didn't want it to be there. I wanted to be that loving, warm father. But I wasn't always able to do that. I love the poem that Ginny had that Ginny read to us from Khalil Gibran, and I've got just a portion of it I'm going to quote again. Your children are not your children; they're the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. dot, dot, dot. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. That's the abbreviated version. I've really resonated with this quote because I see it as a perspective of coaching from behind, not leading in front. I see it as fathering through observation and the sharing of observations, not telling a kid what they should or shouldn't do. I also see this as sort of an indicator, and I really believe this, that kids upon birth are gradually creating their own life story, and over time, they're telling us who they are. They're gradually revealing what they like, what kind of things they're going to do with their lives, how they're going to actually live their lives. We get to witness it, we get to offer counsel, but we don't get to steer the boat, right? We're just kind of talking from the shore to them, or maybe from the lighthouse. I probably heard or had heard of this poem in my 30s when I was still trying to figure things out. I'm still trying to figure things out, by the way. But I probably really didn't get it. I didn't grok it. I wasn't able to incorporate it into my life. At that time, it was probably just a poem that sounded really nice but unachievable. I was barely beginning to recognize the trauma that I had been living inside for so long, and I had a complete journey. I had to complete that journey to be a better dad. Maddie, my eldest daughter, born in '97, she stopped hanging out with me nearly entirely for 5 or 6 years, from middle school until sometime in college. Her mother and I had a highly acrimonious divorce, and her mom initiated a very powerful and destructive cycle of parental alienation, and I could not possibly tell you how painful that is. That being said, my own parenting and temperament were a factor as well. When she first started to pull away, I took her to a counselor to try and straighten her out, right? After the first introductory session, and this is my psychologist named Ivy Siegel, I love her, she sent Maddie to the waiting room. She talked to me individually. I cannot make this girl talk. She's completely shut down, but I think I might be able to help you. I thought, that's not what I'm here for, right? But let's hear what she had to say. She says, I think there's things in your past that are still affecting you now. I'm like, really? I'm like, again, this is not the conversation I came to have here today. But at any rate, she kind of nodded her head, and I realized whether it's my ex-wife's fault or not, I'm about to lose my daughter. And I needed to clean up my side of the street. That's Kelly's verbiage, by the way. I got to keep my side of the street clean, right? While I may or may not lose my daughter to the dark side, I need to clean up my side of the street so that there is an inviting environment for Maddie to come home to whenever she was ready. I also read the book Nonviolent Communication, and that combined with intense psychotherapy for a couple years, if not more, and daily meditation really helped me to strip off many layers of trauma that had haunted me and seemingly controlled my emotions like a spiritual possession. Over the years, I would realize and fully grasp that Maddie was not my kid, like as an ownership, but an individual living her own life with her own, oh, where did it go? Somewhere, I'm going to find it. But as an individual living her own life with their own observations, and I had to let go of my pain associated with temporarily losing her, or else that pain would continue to push her away. When she first started pushing away, I treated it like it was bad behavior. You stop this and you to hang out with me because I'm your dad, right? That doesn't really work very well. What a mistake that was. It was very painful, and it took me a long time to let go of that control. But moving into being a lighthouse to invite her and draw her back in. The lighthouse metaphor is Kelly's too, by the way. Today we're good friends. We just got back from a trip to Mexico City together. I had another trip with her when she was at the end of the semester at sea, where we went to Switzerland and Germany together. And today, I'm one of the first people she calls when she has a crisis or even just has a bad day. I can't regain the years that were lost, but I'm incredibly grateful for the gains that have been made. In the book Falling Upward by Richard Rohr, who is a Franciscan priest and a contemplative teacher, he said, the role of the good father is to help a child feel safe enough to make mistakes and strong enough to take responsibility. This is a spiritual function, not just a social one. So I'm shifting to a different kid all of a sudden. I've tried really hard to do that. It's not easy, but my kids have helped me to learn how to do this. I will say that having a teenage daughter who inherited my sense of adventure, drive, and the propensity to raise hell, along with the willingness to run away for 2 or 3 weeks when it suited her, has really forced me to reconcile with the importance of keeping communication lines open. No matter what's going on, you've got to, if the communication is broken down, you've lost the complete ability, you have no ability to influence anything anymore. Honestly, in her high school years, I felt like my job was mostly just to keep that kid alive and hope that she made good decisions, and she didn't always. I've said in the past that raising Kennedy and getting her to do the right things was more difficult than herding cats. It's kind of like trying to persuade a bumblebee or other flying insects that can sting you to move towards an open window and go outside. The bumblebee doesn't know it needs your help, and if you get too close, it'll sting you. But if you gently persuade it in the right direction, it might just find a window that's open and to safety. After high school, Kennedy went to Western Washington University, and her boyfriend, Cole, went to Fort Lewis and Durango. This is a fun problem. Halfway in her first trimester, Kennedy started complaining about Western Washington, how it rained all the time, hadn't seen the sun in 45 days or something like that, and how cool everyone was in Durango, and how what great place it was. And I repeatedly insisted, right, and I even flew up for a long weekend to spend with her too, but I insisted she should finish her first year at that school. My thought was, if you make it through that first year, you can complete this and it'll be good, right? It's a better school. It's got better programs, more opportunities for collaboration with professors, just all around the board. This is the right thing for you, right? Kelly and I were also highly concerned if she moved to Durango, she was going to center her life around Cole, and she wouldn't get to experience life as an independent woman before getting locked into a serious relationship. And despite our pleas, Kennedy enrolled herself in Fort Lewis College, managed to get herself a transferring student scholarship, and seemed to get herself moved to Durango from Washington all by herself, right? I'm like, okay. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to be pissed off all the time? Like, that's not going to work. Right, back to the bumblebee metaphor, I could continue to be mad about her disobeying and not disobeying my guidance and well thought out advice, or I can keep communications open and continue to support her and again acknowledge that she's living her own life on her own terms. When our kids turn into adults, they only hang out with the parents when they want to, right? So words of discouragement are not going to invite them back to the house, right? No one ever thinks that that's the right way to do it, at least hopefully not. But at any rate, over the last 5 years since she's been in Durango, we've been super happy to see the life she's built for herself. Kennedy will tell you now that I'm her best friend and trusted advisor. She still does things that I don't think are good ideas, but they're her decisions. That's part of what makes her her. And so I've accepted that. So I'm going to come back to the Khalil Gibran quote again. Your children are not your children. They're the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. This time it's going to apply to Gabriel. Kelly and I spoke right up here, a year or two ago. We talked about what it really means to be a transgender person, what it means to be the parents of a transgender person. And we recalled this idea that when you're at the hospital, when your kids are born, you count their toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 toes, everything's good, right? They can see, their eyes work, they can hear, they don't seem to have any intellectual disabilities, everything's good, right? And you breathe easy, right? You see, my kid's perfectly normal, right? Nowhere on that checklist was, I wonder if my kid's trans or not, right? I didn't even know what trans meant. I knew that, okay, there's people born with penises that like to wear women's clothes, and I guess they're transgender. That's as much as I knew. But at any rate, as we're wondering, wondering whether our kid was going to be a transgender boy, like that never made that mental checklist of things you look for in your tiny newborn. But yet when he repeatedly over and over and over again said he wanted to be a boy, I saw no reason to validate, much less encourage what he was saying. I used to say, and his name was Gabrielle then, Gabrielle can want to be a boy all she wants, but she'll never be a boy. She can want to be Superman, and even with all the encouragement of the world, never actually be Superman either. And yet, because of this relentless insistence and consistency, we had no choice but to learn together how gender identity is separate from the gonads you're born with, and separate from which gender you're attracted to as well. And yeah, Gabriel wasn't born with a penis, but his heart, mind, and soul are all male. I can't possibly look at him and not see boy. That's just how it is. Nobody would want for their child to be a paraplegic. Nobody would want their child to be born with some medical problem that would plague them for all their lives. And on that line of thinking, I wouldn't have chosen for any of my kids to be transgender, because that's a hard life. It's a really hard life to live. It's not a picnic for people. And yet, again, I can't look at Gabriel now and not think, boy, it just doesn't happen. Accepting kids for who they really are, not who we want them to be, is a difficult journey to go on. But I was gifted with a transgender child that taught me that life lesson. And so I'd like to reflect back now on harsher times as a younger parent who didn't know or didn't grasp the trauma that I was surrounded by, how it impacted my 2 elder kids. Kelly and I pay for their ongoing counselor fees, by the way. I do hear lately that I come up less and less often, and that's encouraging. I'm grateful for that. I don't dwell on the mistakes that I've made. I acknowledge them, but I recognize that the person who made those mistakes was lost, in pain, and was still trying to do his best, though. I'm still not perfect, but I do believe that I'm doing quite well as a father. And it's very important to me that I'm always trying to be better. So I'm going to close with a couple thoughts to offer up to you all. Fatherhood, like life, is imperfect, but spirituality offers the possibility of healing, redemption, and beginning again. I want to encourage all of us to release guilt, seek forgiveness, and build new bridges with compassion and honesty. To forgive our own fathers is a courageous act. To forgive oneself as a father is just as sacred.
All right, thank you, LJ. Thanks a lot. That's the great thing about our Unity Church here is that I think every other week, just one of us gets up and talks, and I always learn a lot from that. Here we go. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is everywhere. And every thought indeed a prayer.
Okay. So for today's meditation, I'd like to ask everyone to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath and let it out. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. I'd like to invite us all to connect with that universal father archetype that's available within your spirit right here, right now. ask for that fatherly guidance to make us strong. Help us discern and guide us in our path forward. May the fathers among us be blessed with the strength when the road is long. With tenderness when hearts need healing. With patience when the way is unclear. And with joy in the sacred trust of guiding another soul through life. May we all honor the spirit of fatherhood within ourselves and our communities. Shalom.
May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in me. May God's presence illuminate my heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon us. May God's peace abide in us. May God's illuminate our hearts now and forevermore. Now and forevermore.
So thank you very much, LJ. You packed a lot into that lesson for us. A lot of good advice there for all of us, even as grandparents. So thank you. And what can be more appropriate than having one of our fathers speak on Father's Day? Yeah. Before we take our offering, I'd like to just let you know about next week. Next week, Reverend Sharon's going to be speaking, and it's about her experience as a chaplain in the process of healing. And so next Sunday, we're going to have our regular service, and then a break of an hour, and then in the afternoon there's a workshop. And that workshop, after you bring your lunch or whatever, will be at least 7 or 8 different modalities from the world's spiritual traditions. In fact, our own Kamina is going to present one of them on pranic healing. So I think you're going to really get a lot from this rich discussion that we'll have starting at noon next Sunday. On Thursday, if you like, you can join a Zoom class, and that is Unity's teachings out of 3 books written by our co-founders, and we'll be discussing on Zoom for an hour and a half what Unity believes about spiritual healing. And you're certainly invited to join that. In fact, anyone want the Zoom password number? Okay, get a piece of paper and your pen real quick. I'm going to give it to you while the ushers come forward. Okay, it's 623-974-6443. That's the Zoom. number, and the same number as the password, 623-974-6443. Okay. So let's shift our attention to within this time of gratitude. Gratitude for our fathers. Yes. Gratitude for grandfathers. Yes. Gratitude for all those that have raised us as fathers, that take on that father role. Just quietly for a moment. We are grateful. Then we're grateful for the abundance that we have. So let's bless our offering together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
All right, we're getting some real good help up here to back up Chris McShay on a song here that's it's a really good song, and it's very appropriate right now. It's kind of a prophetic goodbye song here. We're gonna miss him. Hopefully we'll get him back in town every once in a while, huh?
If you don't see me, I'm over yonder. My family and friends all around. If you don't see me, it's no wonder. Lord willing, He'll take me home. If you don't see you in the morning, well, I'll just wait beside the fire. If I don't see you come the morning, I'll hope and pray you'll meet me there. And we held hands and walked together. The days were long and time was sweet. If I don't see you cross the river, I'll sit right here until we meet. If I don't see me, I'm over yonder. My family and friends all around. If you don't see me, it's no wonder. Lord willing, He'll take me home. and we held hands and walked together. The days were long, and time was sweet. If I don't see you across the river, I'll sit right here until we meet. If you don't see me, I'm over yonder. My family and friends all around. If you don't see me, it's no wonder. Lord willing, you take me home. I hope and pray you'll meet me there. I hope and pray you'll meet me there. I hope and pray you'll meet me there. I hope and pray you'll meet me there.
Thank you for that, Chris, and thank you for everything you've given us here over the last couple of years. How about some kids?
Do we have children? Here they come, so let's go ahead with this little light.
On the corner of Lions and Vine. Oh, you're on the corner of Lions and Vine. I'm gonna let it shine. You're on the corner of Lions and Vine. I'm gonna let it shine. You're on the corner of Lions and Vine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it.
Well, happy Father's Day to all fathers out there. The kids made cupcakes for their dads and their grandpa and had a good time today. The older kids, we talked about strength being one of our 12 powers. You guys want to tell us a little bit about it?
So when people think of strength, they normally think of people like with big muscles and be able to do stuff that you think is strong. But there's also like emotional strength and intellectual strength. Oh, yeah. And, yeah.
Well, we use strength in our everyday lives. And one of those main strengths that we have to use for everyday lives is making decisions. You actually do have to use strength because you need strength in your mind to make good decisions for you and others around you.
I also want to mention tomorrow begins camp. I can't believe it. It's here. Woo! So excited about it. We have 12 kiddos coming to camp this year, which is wonderful. We're so thrilled to get that. I'm down 2 volunteers. And so if anybody has any time, get with me today and let me know if you could spare a few hours sometime during the week. Not every day, but if you just had one day you could come for a few hours, that would be helpful. We have so many activities outside and inside. So as many eyes as possible on the 12 kiddos would be great. Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Nancy, and thank you again, Chris McShay. He's moving to Indianapolis. And I'm going to notify every Unity church within 100 miles of that town. They've got a musician, an excellent musician in their midst in Indiana. So thank you, Chris, very much. Thank you. All right. And thank you for being here, every one of you. You're the ones that make this community happen. Thank you. And those of you online, we know that you're watching us, and we trust that someday you'll come and visit us. In the meantime, thank you for being online. So I think we need to circle up, huh? If you're able to, just let's join hands. And greet that person next to you. Say hello. Say I love you. Say we appreciate you. Yes. Thank you for being here. So together we have the prayer protection and the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.